a grabar aquí y muy buenos días. Feliz lunes,
Muy
feliz
bien.
lunes. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal con todos? ¿Bien?
Muy bien.
Bien.
Cindy, tu patio es
Sí.
ah,
I'm in Sholo.
lindo, lindo. Solo, con temperaturas normales,
La temperatura está bueno.
y
No,
árboles y todo. Ay, qué bien, qué bien, qué buena suerte, qué buena suerte. Ah, bueno, bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome to everybody. Es la última clase de la temporada o de la estación de verano. For summer session, this will be our last class for summer session. We've got a couple of weeks off. Is it 2.5 weeks?
2 weeks,
2 weeks,
two Mondays.
dos semanas, 2 weeks.
Dos.
I think we are still in need of one more person to sign up to meet our minimum, para que sepan, just so you know. I'm going to put out you see. I think we're just one shy. The second session, I think we're a few shy, but we've got a few weeks. You know, the critical one is we got to look at September. But yeah, I just need one more sign up and then we are green lighted to go for
What is our first day of class in
our
September?
first day of class will
The 9th.
be
I think it's the 9th.
the
Monday
9th,
the 9th. Yeah.
September 9th, because
Correct.
Labor Day actually falls on
It's the
September
2nd.
1st, I believe.
No, 2nd.
Oh, 2nd, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so it will be, well, the 9th is, yes, 9th is Monday, and we are looking at Monday. So yes, it will be
2 Mondays
September
off.
9th for the first class. Sí, exacto. Okay, vale. Qué bien. Oh, okay.
Do we
Uh,
do we have to pay, up front for both classes or
No.
I think if you want to do it as the one class first, that's probably fine. They
Oh,
won't make a
just wondered.
decision on that second fall session till it gets closer to October.
Oh, okay, I see.
So yeah.
All right.
And I think that we have to get 8 people by a 1 week before. So
Oh, I see.
1 week from today. But I think we're going to be in good shape with that. But just so that people
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Excelente. Hoy vamos a empezar con el ejercicio de shadowing. We're going to start with picking up on our shadowing exercise. I'll take any questions you've got on the video of dormir. El tema del video de la semana pasada es dormir. All things relating to sleeping.
Sleeping.
We'll see if you understood everything they said and if you have any questions. Y por fin vamos a hablar un poquito de cómo decir mandatos, how commands will sound, and when we use commands and when we don't use commands, because you hear them from time to time. They're not an absolute essential because you'll probably get the gist of it, but it's a good thing to know because you do see them every once in a while. See, Cindy.
I do have a question. I went over the examples they gave of the irregulars,
See.
and I've got, if we could go over some of those, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, we're going to look
And
through all that so you see how it goes. Yeah.
I just ran into something this morning I thought was interesting because it was like, it was on Duo, put something somewhere, and their answer was pon, P-O-N, and I put ponga.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
both
yet a
are
different
supposedly
thing.
right.
That's
Yeah.
yet a different thing. I will show you what that is about when we get to it.
Okay.
It's kind of a can of worms.
Oh.
Yeah. Fun is a thing. But we'll talk about that when we get to commands.
Okay.
And yeah, I won't expect you to like immediately do the examples and, immediately jump in. That would not be reasonable.
I tried.
Well, it can be a little bit tricky. Okay, and just so that you know before we get to it, the reason it is tricky is that the commands, it's because of all the ways of saying you. That's why it's a stinker. It's because there are so many different ways, of course, of expressing you, and therefore the commands that go along with that complicate it. But there's a way to uncomplicate it, which is what we're going to do today.
And while you brought that up, there were a couple things that when I put in the to form, it was the Eustedes form.
Yes.
And there was no way to figure out that you met a bunch of people instead of one person.
Well, okay. The Eustedes commands are super easy. Once you know how to do the usted commands, you've got Ustedes command, the plural automatically. You'll know how to do it. I guarantee it is easy. And really, how we're going to uncomplicate it is we're only going to look at the usted and then how it changes into ustedes, because it's one easy step with one letter. No kidding. One letter of the alphabet. That's all you need to know. So we'll handle that today.
So
yeah.
I had a couple questions about the sleep video. Do you want to answer? Do you want to ask questions about the sleeping video?
Which video, Jean?
Sleeping.
Oh,
Sleep.
sí. We'll do that after our shadowing.
Okay.
Sí, bien. Okay. So, entonces el orden es shadowing, el video de dormir, sí, y preguntas, claro, sí, y después mandatos, and a little bit about commands so that you'll know them when you hear them, and you can maybe do a few yourself even. Okay. Voy a compartir aquí la pantalla. Pueden ver, voy a engrandecer. I need to make this bigger.
Bigger.
Bigger, sí, más grande.
Grande.
Okay, pueden ver. Can you see this? See?
Yes.
Readable? Okay.
Como?
Not just see it. Is it readable? That's what okay. So again, what we're going to focus on is nice open vowels. A, E, I, O, U, right? Nice open vowels. And breaking down these long, nasty words into shorter bits. And don't be afraid to slow that down. It's not a foot race here. Not a foot race. It's not a competition to see who can finish first. Okay. Bien. Y voy a leer el subtítulo. I'm going to read the title, the little second title. Sí, el título aquí. Sí, okay, we had to start from the yellow. ¿Cómo puedo prevenir un desequilibrio? So there's one of the hard words. Desequilibrio. Electrolítico. And whenever you see a word with an accent mark, see, what you want to make sure is you always know, boom, that's going to get more emphasis, right? That accent mark means push or stress that more than others. That's all that means. How can I prevent? Okay, en el título aquí, how can I prevent an electrolytic, well, there's a hard word in English, electrolytic, imbalance. ¿Sí? Bien. Okay. ¿Quién quiere empezar? Who wants to start shadowing with the first sentence with me? Con la primera frase. ¿Quién quiere empezar? Who'd like to start? Necesito un voluntario. Bueno, Julie, magnífico. Ok. Julie, aquí. La forma más fácil de prevenir un desequilibrio electrolítico durante una ola de calor es evitar pasar demasiado calor o deshidratarse. según los expertos.
según los expertos.
And the según los expertos means according to, right? Según, according to experts. Okay. The easiest way to prevent an electrolytic imbalance during a heat wave, ola de calor, ola es wave, see? Ola es wave, ola de calor, a heat wave, is to avoid spending too much or avoid going through, see, too much heat or dehydrating, according to experts. Okay, bien. And you'll notice, normally I like to group words together in logical places, but when we've got a long word like desequilibrio, yeah, we need to take those as smaller bits for you to do a repeat. Bueno, Julie, una frase más, one more sentence. Optar por lugares
Optar por lugares
con aire acondicionado,
con aire acondicionado,
así como ducharse
así como ducharse
con agua fría
con agua fría
y mantenerse
y mantenerse
hidratado
hidratado
puede ayudar.
puede ayudar.
Bien.
Wow.
Okay. Magnífico, magnífico. And that aire acondicionado is comfortable for us to read, but not comfortable for us to pronounce, right? Because it's so long. AC. How many people do you know who say AC instead of air conditioning in English? Almost yeah, all the time. Airea con airea. And the aire is going to string right together. Aire acondicionado. There is no way to shorten that to AC
Okay.
in Spanish. Aire, I know. Isn't that a pain? There's no way to shorten that the way we do in English. Aire acondicionado. Maybe it'll happen with 50 years from now, but it's not going to happen now. Okay. And I want to point something out. Sometimes in Spanish, the way this sentence started, optar por lugares con aire acondicionado, opt for places with air conditioning. Yeah. Opt. Choose. Yeah. Choose places that are air conditioned. Okay. Sometimes the whole infinitive, that means the base form of a word that has just the AR or just the ER or just the IR, no conjugation. Sometimes that can be used as commands as well. But here, really, it isn't a command. Here it's saying choosing air-conditioned places, and also like showering with cold water can keep you hydrated. Taking cold showers can help keep you hydrated, and this can all help. Okay, alguien más, somebody else. Otro voluntario para shadowing.
I can do it. I'll do it.
Jean next. Algunos grupos, sin embargo, son más vulnerables
son más vulnerables
a los desequilibrios. Entre ellos, los niños pequeños,
los niños pequeños,
los adultos mayores y las personas con afecciones crónicas,
y las personas con afecciones crónicas,
como cardiopatías, enfermedades renales y diabetes. Bien, magnífico. Okay. Some groups, nevertheless, and when you hear that, sin embargo, it's going to sound like one word. That'll always be pronounced with no pauses. Sin embargo. Sin embargo, right? Nobody's ever going to pause between those two words. Some groups, nevertheless, are more vulnerable to imbalances, among them little kids, older adults, and people with afflictions, physical problems that are chronic, yeah? Like heart patients, people with kidney ailments and diabetes. Okay, una frase más, Jean. ¿Sí? Si sospechas
Si sospechas
que te faltan electrolitos,
que te faltan electrolitos,
quizá porque has sudado mucho
quizá porque has sudado mucho
o has notado síntomas
o has, oh, sorry, I don't say the H, o has notado síntomas.
Tomar una bebida deportiva
Tomar una bebida deportiva
como Gatorade
como Gatorade
con electrolitos
con electrolitos
no es mala idea
no es mala idea
en caso de apuro.
en caso de apuro.
Okay. And again, that phrase, en caso de apuro, that would all run together. Yeah, en caso de apuro.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody will ever separate into en caso de apuro. En caso de apuro. Okay.
It's not a bad
bien.
idea.
Yeah. If you suspect that you're lacking or you need electrolytes, maybe because you sweated a lot or you have noticed symptoms, yeah, taking a sports drink like Gatorade with electrolytes is not a bad idea in case you're in a hurry. That word apuro, en caso de apuro, means in case you've only got a little bit of time, yeah? A command, which you hear people say when they hurry up, like kids to other kids, because they think they're going to be late, moms to little kids, apúrate, apúrate. Apúrate can be the command form of that idea of apura. Apuro means a hurry. In case of a hurry, meaning if you haven't got much time. Yeah. If you're short on time. Is you're starting to feel bad and I got to do something fast. En caso de apuro means you got to do it fast. Magnífico. Okay. ¿Quién es? Aquí, ¿a quién te toca? Whose turn?
Who wants to go?
Okay, Sam. Help us out.
Okay.
Bebidas como
Bebidas.
Pedialyte
Como Pedialyte,
que tienen menos azúcar
que tienen menos azúcar
y una mayor concentración
y una mayor concentración
de sodio
de sodio
que Gatorade
que Gatorade
son una alternativa.
son una alternativa.
Bien. Okay. Drinks like Pedialyte, which have less sugar and a larger concentration of sodium than Gatorade, are an alternative. Una frase más, one more for you, Sam. Y las pastillas,
Y las pastillas,
polvos
polvos
y geles,
y geles
hidratantes.
y geles hidratantes. Hidratantes.
Bien. También pueden ser
También pueden ser
suplementos útiles.
suplementos útiles.
Bien, bien. And the bad word that you were stuck with, Sam, was hidratantes. Hidratantes. There was your long word, right?
Yeah.
This is an article full of scientific things which are easy to read and understand, but harder to pronounce because they're
So
long.
what's the first syllable? It's an E?
Hidratantes.
Yeah. Hidratantes?
Hidratantes. No se pronuncia la H. We don't, where in English we say hydrating.
Correct.
The H is not pronounced. Hidratantes.
Hydratante.
It's spelled but not pronounced.
Hydra, but it's silent. Okay. Hydratante.
It's silent. H is the only letter in the language that is consistently and always silent unless it's a CH combo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cha.
CH used to be a separate letter of the alphabet by itself. It used to be taught to kids as one of the letters of the alphabet. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, Ch, A, B, C, Ch. It is no longer, as of 1990, it is no longer considered a separate letter of the alphabet. I have dictionaries that have Che, CH, as a separate letter of the alphabet, but that no longer is a rule. It's something they said, too many people are ignoring it. We're not going to do it anymore. That's what it boils down to. Oh,
Can I ask a quick question?
It is-
Why do they use sodio? You said that meant like sodium, I
See.
guess. So that's different than salt, which would be salt, right?
I think, well, just as we say sodium in English, and yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
what they say?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
science thing, not a language thing. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
How is
Yep.
sodium different than salt? I
Yeah,
could not
it's an
even
example,
you.
right? Yeah, I'm a science person, so that's why I asked.
and I'm not, so
Yep. There you
I
go.
have no enlightenment for you, sadly, on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. A ver. Oh, I can't. Aquí, here. Pastillas, pills.
Pastillas.
So, yeah. Pastillas is a word for pills.
Love it.
Polvos means powders. You know,
Polvos.
some people add electrolyte supplements in with the powder addition.
Mm.
And hydrating gels also can be useful supplements. Útiles means useful, right?
Nice. Okay.
Utilizar is the verb form of that. Utilizar with Z-A-R at the end. Then it becomes a verb, but útil is useful. And here is suplementos útiles. So
Utiles.
útil is plural, right?
Suplementos útiles.
Useful supplements. Okay. And by the way, when you're walking out here, yeah, part of the problem that we have is that people always think, oh, if you drink enough, you're just fine. But if you are also sweating out your salts, that's why the sodio thing comes in.
Mm.
And my husband actually does have un polvo powder that he sometimes puts in his big water tanks for long hikes, especially, yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people here don't think to do, but that's a thing we should all be doing if you're outdoors a long time and don't do that in the middle of the day. Okay.
Especially in the summer.
Otro voluntario. Anybody who wants to start this word with la mayoría, this sentence here, la frase aquí. Okay, Lisa, you're going to start for me next. La mayoría de estos productos
La mayoría de estos productos
contienen sodio,
contienen sodio,
que según Goldfarb,
que según Goldfarb
es un doctor, I should have edited that out, es el electrolito
es el electrolito
más importante
más importante
que hay que reponer
que hay que reponer
si se ha sudado en exceso.
si se ha sudado en exceso.
Bien, sudado, muy bien, muy bien. You said that very nicely, and it was not the hard d. You had a nice th. Sudado. Sudar is to sweat. This ha sudado, se ha sudado means one has sweated. Becomes the se ha sudado. All three of those words that hang together means if one has sweated. So most of these products contain sodium, according to Goldfarb, and it is the most important electrolyte that one has to replace if one has sweated in excess. I'm just going to point out here, para que sepan, so that you can notice this. This thing that hangs together is meant to be that everything is in an impersonal mode in these phrases. And the two phrases is que hay que reponer, that one must replace. And this is talking as que hay que indicates obligation, but it does not make the obligation personal. Like you have to is personal, right? If I specifically put the word you in there and I conjugate the verb for you have to, that is a personal way of saying it. And in Spanish, that is strong. That is like almost pushy. It's making it really strong. But if you soft pedal that, yeah, which they like a lot in the Spanish language, you make it an impersonal obligation, which is the phrase hay que with the infinitive. Hay que reponer. One must replace. Not you as a human being, but you have to. You in its most general sense. Yeah, you have to, or you should, or you ought to, or one has to, which is perfectly great in English, except that when we converse with people back and forth, we don't use that idea of one very much. Yeah, conversationally. Well, one must learn how to drive a car at the age of 15. Nobody says it that way. They say you have to learn to drive at 15, right? That's what they'll say. Okay. And the second half of that, si se ha sudado, if one has sweated. And just know that makes it kind of puts it into near past, recent past, si se ha sudado. Okay. A ver. Bien. And we're going to start with the si quieres. And I think one more, Lisa, I'm going to have you do one more sentence here. Si quieres preparar.
Si quieres preparar.
Bien, good. En casa.
En casa.
Una bebida electrolítica rápida.
Una bebida electrolítica rápida.
Bien, bien. Eficaz.
Eficaz.
Y asequible.
Y asequible.
Sí. Puedes mezclar.
Puedes mezclar.
Simplemente sal.
Simplemente sal.
Agua y azúcar.
Agua y azúcar.
Oh, and that's going to answer some of our sodium question that Jean had. Yeah. If you want to prepare an electrolytic beverage quickly, or a fast, efficient, and accessible electrolytic drink, you can simply mix salt, water, and sugar. There we go. So yeah, I guess salt fills the bill. If you're,
right.
If you haven't got anything, if you haven't got the fancy hydrating powder that my husband buys from the
Just
outdoor
put some salt.
stores. Yeah. Bien.
So I have a quick question about the first word in that that paragraph that we just did. So when we use si can mean yes, but is that with an accent on it or something? And this one doesn't.
Exactly.
So it means
right.
if. Okay.
There are a handful of words in Spanish, and they're all short, one-syllable words, where the one version of the word has an accent mark and the other one doesn't. And when you see that, like CNC, it means that they're actually pronounced the same way, but the accented word has a meaning that is completely unrelated and different from the unaccented word. So C with no accent mark means if. C with an accent mark means yes. They sound the same. See. The accent mark does not make the pronunciation different. The accent mark is there visually when you read to tell you, oh, in this context, see with an accent mark means yes, right? There are a few words like that. I'll give you just a couple. We won't go through all of them, but te and te, T-E-T-E. Te with no accent mark means to you, like te llevo, I'll take you, I'll drive you somewhere. Te llevo, right? But te with an accent mark means tea, a beverage you drink. Yeah. Yeah. Tu, T-U, and tu with an accent mark are two separate words. You might think they are kind of in a way sort of related, but they're not the same word. Tu with no accent mark means your, meaning something belongs to you. Tu hijo, your kid. Tu esposo, your husband. Tu casa, your house. Something belongs to you. Tu with the accent mark is you, the person, but on a friendly basis. Yeah, on a first name basis. And there are a few other words like that. We won't.
I was thinking like está and está.
Those are a little bit different because they sound slightly different. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Esta, no accent mark. And notice the stress is different. So that's why it sounds different.
True.
Esta. Esta means this. Yeah. Esta mañana, this morning. See, esta mañana. Esta taza, this cup. Right? But if we shift the stress to the back, it gets an accent mark. And that is a little bit different because they are actually two different words. Because the stress is different, they sound a little different. Esta, está. Esta, está. But spelling-wise, in terms of letters, they're the same. Yeah, esta is that verb, right? Is. Okay. Buena pregunta. Always good questions. Always feel free to interrupt because it's not interrupting. Okay, vale. También, Usha, you can start for us. Sí. También es muy probable.
También es muy probable
que una persona normal
que una persona normal
no necesite bebidas deportivas.
No necesita bebidas deportivas
O brebajes de electrolitos.
O brebajes de electrolitos.
Si consumes la comida que está en la lista abajo.
Que está en la lista abajo.
Okay. It's very probable that a normal person might not need, no necesite is where we might say might not need, because we don't know for sure. A normal person might not need sports drinks or these kind of electrolyte additives if you consume the food that is on the list below, and we don't really have the list below, but you know, that sentence is just there. Okay, vale. Bueno, Usha. Los que pasen tiempo.
Los que pasen tiempo.
Sin aire acondicionado.
Tiempo sin aire acondicionado.
Yeah, this is a tough word for all English speakers. Acondicionado.
Acondicionado.
Bien, mejor, much better. Acondicionado. Acondición.
Acondicionado.
Bien, perfecto. Suden mucho.
Suden mucho.
Hagan ejercicio.
Hagan ejercicio.
That's a hard word too. O trabajen al aire libre.
o trabajan al aire libre.
Aire libre, sí, aire libre. That
Aire.
Yeah, that aire word is a tough one, right? Because we have air, but it's aire. Aire acondicionado, and here just aire libre. Aire libre means free air, but it means open air, outdoors. Yeah.
Aire libre.
Sí.
Ah,
Podrían beneficiarse
Podrían beneficiarse
de los suplementos.
de los suplementos.
Suplementos, sí, suplementos. Okay. Bien.
Suplementos.
Yeah, those who might spend time without outside of air conditioning, with no air conditioning. Sin just means without air conditioning. Those who sweat a lot, those who might be doing exercise, or those who might be working outdoors could benefit from supplements. And notice all these verbs, this does not look like it comes from sudar, an AR verb. It's suden. Wait a minute, en. This is from hacer, an ER verb, hagan. And this, wait a minute, trabajar is an AR verb. Why is that trabajen and not trabajan? In these, we can all insert the idea of might to indicate it's hypothetical. We don't really know. So these kind of inject the idea of might. Those who, and also this verb, pasen, you would think it should be pasan. It's an AR verb, but what it's saying is those who might spend time without air conditioning, who may sweat a lot, who may be working out, or who may be working outdoors. And that means this is a hypothetical situation. Yeah. And we don't know who fits in those categories specifically. It's just throwing it out there as a hypothetical. Yeah. So if you can insert the idea of may or might to indicate uncertainty, you'll hear those verbs that look like, that doesn't look like an AR verb, and shouldn't it be? Or it doesn't look like an ER verb, and shouldn't it be? That's what they're using. They're using what we call subjunctive to indicate this isn't an actual condition we know about or an actual situation that is really happening. It's a hypothetical. Okay. En estos casos, beber agua durante una ola de calor no va a ser suficiente. In those cases, meaning working outdoors, exercising, sweating a lot. In those cases, drinking water during a heat wave is not going to be enough. Is not going to be sufficient. Sufficient, suficiente, suficiente, enough, sufficient. Okay.
Suficiente.
Vale. Bien. También. Anybody want to take over with our también sentence to do a practice? Mark, here we go. También puedes comer.
Bien puedes comer
Para reponer
para reponer
los minerales
los minerales
que estás perdiendo.
que estás perdiendo.
You can also eat to replace the minerals that you are losing. Las sopas saladas,
Las sopas saladas,
como las de pollo o miso,
como las de pollo o miso,
y los aperitivos,
y los aperitivos,
como los frutos secos,
como los frutos secos,
el queso,
el queso,
los pepinillos
los pepinillos,
y las papas fritas. Oh,
las
perdón.
las papas fritas
Y los pretzels.
y los pretzels.
No hay palabra para pretzel, ¿sí? Son buenas fuentes
Son buenas fuentes
de sodio,
de sodio
según los expertos.
según los expertos.
Bien, okay. So here's where they talk about the food side, what foods, besides having water, adds to helping you keep hydrated, right? The electrolyte side of the foods that can help you retain the liquid that your body needs. You can also eat to replace the minerals that you are losing. Salty soups like chicken or miso. Snacks, aperitivos here means snacks, things you just eat, in between. Fruto seco is a way of expressing nuts. Frutos secos literally means dried fruits, but what they really mean is nuts, any kind of nut. Yeah. Cheese, seeds, French, papas fritas. Well, yeah, French fries or chips, pretzels are good sources. Fuentes normally means a fountain, but fuente in this context means a source, right? And a fountain is a source of water, yeah. But these are good sources, fuentes of sodium, according to experts. Okay, bien. ¿Quién quiere continuar? Who wants to follow up? We're almost getting towards the end here. Bueno, Cindy, sí, a ver. Los plátanos.
Los plátanos
Contienen mucho potasio.
contienen mucho potasio.
Potasio, sí. La leche,
La leche,
los champiñones
los champiñones
y los aguacates
y los aguacates
también contienen
también contienen
potasio.
potasio.
Y añadió que los aguacates
Y añadió que los aguacates
también contienen
también contienen
sodio
sodio
y magnesio.
y magnesio.
Bien. So here they're talking about other food sources for the electrolyte minerals that our bodies lose, right? Bananas, milk. Well, bananas have potassium, right? Milk, mushrooms, champiñones. There are different words for mushroom, and that will vary a little bit on what region you're in. Sometimes you'll see setas, but champiñones here is mushrooms. Mushrooms, avocados also have potassium, and avocados also have sodium and magnesium. Okay, bien, vale. Bueno, gracias, Cindy.
Carolyn, what is añadir?
Añadió means added. And here it means he added. And this is used, it's a verb used for cooking if you add things into a recipe. It's also used as an alternative to he said, right? He said, he responded, he added. It's a word thrown in as a to mix up the things to talk about reported speech. Instead of always saying, this expert said, he said, we'll mix up the dijo, he said, with words like añadió, he added, meaning more information was spoken. That's all that means. He added that avocados also contain sodium and magnesium. There you go. Okay. Bien. Alguien, anybody else want to take over this last bit? Una frase, yo. Frutas, verduras, frutos secos y ensalada, dijo un médico. Esas son las reglas generales a la hora de reponer los electrolitos. Fruits, veggies, nuts, and salad, said a doctor. These are the general rules at the time of replacing electrolytes. A la hora, at the hour, I know, but we would say when it's time to replace electrolytes. ¿Sí? ¿Así? ¿Bien? Ustedes hicieron bien. You guys did well. You guys did really, really well with that shadowing. And
So,
excelente, really excellent job, because a lot of those sentences had multiple, great big long words.
so I have a question. The word for mushroom, is that an example, champignons? Is that an example of the CH that you talked about
Oh,
earlier?
yeah. See. I'll put that back up. Of the CH word. Yeah, sí. A ver. Momentito. Aquí. Bien. Okay. This word, champiñones. Champiñones. Wow, that's a long word. Champiñones is a word for mushrooms, and it starts with CH. And it used to be that if I look in a modern dictionary, I will have to look under C. But in an old dictionary, like the one that I bought, I won't tell you how long ago, a long time ago, the letter that used to originally come after C in the Spanish dictionary was CH, che. And that letter, CH, was considered one letter. Che was the name of that letter, right? La che. You'll still hear people sometimes referring it to as la che. But now it is considered a two-letter combo that makes an actual sound instead of the H, which never makes a sound by itself. This is the only way that an H is actually voiced and makes a sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And why that is, I do not know. It's a linguistics issue, not a Spanish issue. Bien. Okay. Cindy first and then Jean. See.
I just have a quick question about champignons. This was from Colombia. I was out to dinner and had a pasta with mushrooms, and it was hongos. See?
You might hear this word hongos for mushroom. Yeah. I would say that is probably more common than champiñones, but it really depends. It's kind of a regional thing. Another word is seta, S-E-T-A, setas. That also means mushroom. Somebody explained something to me actually a couple of weeks ago I think this was information from somebody from Argentina though, which I would say, may not apply to all of Latin America. That sometimes there's a difference of which word is used for the picking the mushroom out of the ground versus what's on your plate. But I'm not sure I would not say it's safe to say that as an across the board explanation. Not sure about that. I think it is a regional thing from what I have heard and seen over the years. It's just sometimes I've just gotten used to you'll see one of those three words and that means mushrooms, and I've seen them on menus in different places. It's hard to predict which word they're going to use, but I would say champiñones maybe more in Spain, hongos and setas. Hongos, I think, definitely more in South America. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hongos, I think you hear less in Spain, as far as I know. But you do hear setas, S-E-T-A-S, setas in Spain. So, depende. It depends.
So my question, Marilyn, was I just need to practice saying this word, but you said añadió.
Añadió,
añadió means he added. What's the verb that comes from? Can you tell us how to spell the verb that it comes from?
Sí, claro.
I feel like I'll understand the
for some reason
better.
Yeah, I'll show you what I'll put it back on the screen.
Plus, it's sort of crazy to say it. Añadió.
Well, yeah, you know what? It's a little intimidating to say, but it's easy to explain. Okay. And we're looking at the bottom here. This
Oh, añadir. There we go. Yep.
añadir. Añadir is the base verb, the infinitive that comes from. Añadir means to add. And it can mean to verbally add, like you're tacking on more information,
Mhm.
or it can mean to physically add, or it can mean even to add up, like
Like numbers.
mathematically.
That's what I
Yeah.
wondered, if that was a math term. Okay.
Just like English uses the word add freely in those different contexts. Spanish will do the same thing.
Okay.
I would say
Thank
the
you.
most common, when you read and you see or hear añadió, it just means he added or she added. And that means that somebody said something. Oh, besides that first thing they said something else. Yeah. Just as we flip between he said, he responded, he added. Yeah. In the same way. In here, it's a verbal sense. But it's often used in cooking. There are a couple of words to mean to add. Agregar is another verb that means to add as well. But there, I think you hear it less for verbal adding, more for physically adding. It's just a synonym. Yeah, so agregar is to add on, tack on. It's just a synonym, a different word, means the same thing, but words that share similar meanings. Bien. Vale. Bien. And that yo with that accent mark at the end just made it a past idea instead of a right now present idea. That's all. Yeah. Fantástico. Ahorita, right now, we're going to switch to, vamos a cambiar de tema. We're going to change gears a little bit. I want to know what questions you had. I know Jean had a question about the video. Sí, dormir. El tema es dormir, el tema del
So
video.
I guess my two questions. At the beginning, they started by saying that we should be listening to the video and we should be listening to see if, for Anna, does she snore? And for Claudia, does she have nightmares? Right? And then I got so caught up in all the vocabulary and making sure that I understand the video that I never knew what the answers to those questions were. And then because I got a little messed up with at the end when they were talking about a bad dream was una pesadilla, maybe?
Sí, pesadilla.
I didn't understand why she said in Spanish, I better not tell them if they're scary or talk about them if they're scary or something like that.
Yeah, sí.
And so those were the things I guess I was confused about in the video.
What she actually said about nightmares?
Yeah. So I was interested. So did Anna snore or does her husband snore?
Ana nos dijo que sí, ella ronca, ¿sí?
Okay.
Su esposo le dice, her husband says to her que sí, ella ronca. She does snore.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Sí.
And then in terms of Claudia, I know they were talking about nightmares, but I think she said she's had bad dreams.
Yeah.
In the video.
On occasion.
Right.
Sí. It's kind of interesting because Claudia is a psychologist, and it was sort of interesting. She didn't want to say what her nightmares
were. Yeah.
Wow. I could tell you some nightmares I've had because they're just weird.
It's probably stuff she heard from other people, right?
But maybe it's too personal. Maybe it's just traumatic. Yeah, maybe it's somebody chasing you with a knife. I don't know. Qué sé yo, what do I know? She chose to say she doesn't really want to share what those nightmares are, but that she does have them.
Right.
Yeah, and she snores on occasion.
Eso,
right.
Sí.
Okay. Thank you. That helps.
And that little verb roncar is kind of fun because it used to be that people thought nothing of snoring, and now they kind of tell you, ooh, not so great for your health if you snore. Da, da, da. But yeah, some people snore, some people don't. Bien. Okay. Hay otra pregunta. But you understand the basic idea there. Yeah. See? Bien. Yeah. And Claudia had basically said, yeah, I do have nightmares, but I really don't want to go into what they're about.
Right.
Okay. Bien. Vale. Bueno, hay otra pregunta. Is there any other question about the sleep video? Something that didn't make sense or didn't quite understand? And these are an easy level. Actually, you're going to get a new one. Hay tiempo. We might be able to fit it today. No, I think we won't fit it in yet today, but I'll give it for you to listen to because it'll be a nice, fun, and easy one to understand. ¿Dónde está? The new one you're going to get is going to be this one. Oh, for travelers. And this is kind of fun because it's going to tie in a little bit to the idea of commands. And and actually it's helpful because it kind of shows you when you do not need a command as well. Because commands for travelers often happen at places like restaurants,
Yeah.
And in most cases, because commands do have kind of a strong punch to them in Spanish, that's a cultural thing, really, not a grammar thing. A lot of times in situations where we would use command, like, hey, get me, bring another glass of wine, bring another glass of beer. Yeah, that's a command, bring one. You might say it not as a command because saying it not as a command is actually a little less pushy in Spanish. Yeah. So just know that happens. Just know that commands do have some punch and weight to them in Spanish. It really is a cultural thing. And sometimes in Spanish, they choose to soften commands. So here's the one element we're going to learn, because we are going to learn a little bit with commands, because sometimes you do hear them. And the cardinal rule, the most important thing you can ever know so that you don't tick people off or make them think you're an uppity American, un gringo. The best way to avoid that when you use a command is por favor.
Por favor.
Por favor. Por favor is the magic softening phrase that will automatically take a command, which has some punch to it, and soften it. Yeah. So anytime you use a command, unless you're yelling at a little kid who's doing something really awful, por favor is really the magic word. It automatically takes that command and softens it so that it doesn't sound so darn hard. Yeah, bien. Okay, so here's the thing. Commands. I gave you a long list. We're going to do some little bit of practice with them, but I want to show you a quick video on commands. Commands, salud. Commands are kind of a tricky thing. Commands mean you're giving somebody an order. Okay. Now, in English, commands, we use them and we don't think they are commands, but they are. So when you look at, you got like your grandkid and one or two of their friends there at the table, you say, hey, eat up, eat all that food. That's a command. When you tell people, oh, eat, oh, here, take this. That's a command. Listen up. That's a command. Come over here. That's a command. All those things are command. And when we say that in English, I think this was the first step where when I had teenagers, and we came to the part in the textbook. It was like, okay, we're going to learn commands. Even though they heard me say commands all the time, like, open your books, read this, come here. They heard them all the time. But when you said the word to them, we're going to learn about commands and be like, what's that? And I'd say, yeah, like when I tell you, come here, that's a command. And they say, well, that's not a command. Command is like, command, you're in the army now. And say, yeah, you're in the army now. You're taking commands, but the whole concept of commands was something they like, really? That's a command? When you say come here, it's like, yes. Because when I say come here, the person is not walking over towards me at that point. It isn't actually happening. The come here, the activity of come here, isn't actually happening yet. So that's why this has to be put into a conjugation, because conjugations tell you the action that's happening and when they're happening. And commands are actually what they call a different mood. They're not even necessarily a conjugation. They are a mood. And they're a mood because present tense says something is happening right now, or it habitually, usually happens. Past tense says something did happen, but it's over with. Yeah. Future means, oh, not yet, but it will happen at some point in the future. Commands mean I want something to happen. Yeah. So you tell your kids, clean your room, and you don't know if they're going to clean the room or not. You tell somebody come here, but maybe they're just going to stand where they are and not come. So the come here isn't happening yet. That's why these are what we call a different mood. Okay, so we've got that concept of what the heck is a command. A command is an order. It's a request for somebody to do something, but something that they're not yet doing at this moment. Okay. Step number 2 about commands is that we got this many words for you. Okay. All right. Automatically easier for Latin America. You only got 3 U's you're dealing with. You're dealing with tú, right? Familiar you, one person. Usted, formal, polite. And there's the key, la clave, the key, polite. And ustedes. And ustedes is blanket. Doesn't matter if it's first name basis or not. Ustedes is just you plural. Okay. We're going to focus just on usted and ustedes, because tú is opening a big can of worms. And Cindy, the example that you gave, I'm going to use as why is it a can of worms? And then you're going to say, thank you for not doing this today. Gracias. Here's the thing. You tell somebody, put your cell phone here. Put your cell phone here, right? You want them to set it down, right? To a friend, in the tú friendly form, that command of put, set it down, is pon. Pon. P-O-N. Pon. But that's if you're telling them, go ahead and do it. Yeah? Pon is an irregular command. It comes from poner. So it's just like poner without the ER. Yeah? Pon. Okay. However, with a tú command, pon is one form of saying, yes, set it down. What if you don't want somebody to set something down? Like, I don't know, you just cleaned the table, somebody painted the table. You don't want them to, set it down on some wet paint. Don't set it down. For tú is no pongas. No pongas. Don't set it down. No pongas. P-O-N-G-A-S. Ponga. No pongas. And you know what? Pon is quite different from no pongas. You got a whole extra syllable. Therefore, the big can of worms is that tú, when it's a go do it command, is one verb form, but tu, when it's a don't do it verb form, is a whole different type of conjugation. Therefore, it's a can of worms. Okay. So we're not going to be talking about tu today. We're going to be talking about the easy commands. The easy commands are and the ones that you as a traveler are more likely to hear. Because most of the time when you're traveling, you're going to be talking to people you don't know, right? So we go into polite mode. The commands that are most useful in hearing and speaking are the usted commands and ustedes, because ustedes will be super easy because the only thing you're going to do with ustedes that is different is adding the letter N. That's it. Yay. So the way that we say usted commands, it's very easy to switch it to a you guys command. Hey, you guys, come over here. It's very easy because we just add the letter N. Yay. They're the same for yes, go do it. They're the same for hey, don't do it. They're the same. Yay. So, usted and ustedes, all you do, once you know how to make an usted command, you just add an N to the end to make it a you guys command. So that's super easy. Yeah. And bien. Okay. Sí. Cindy.
But we just did pone. It's pone. What do you do with that?
Pon?
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
If the usted, the singular is pone, put it down.
Different. No, it will be different for usted. It will not be pon.
Oh.
See? Bien? Okay. So we're going to take a look at how these are formed in general. And then we're going to look at the set of slides that I had and we'll do some practice with that. Vale? Sí? Rápido. Here's a guy who has very, very short, and I'll give you the link to this later in the email at the end of the day. How to form usted commands. These are the most useful for tourists because you're talking to waiters, you're talking to a guy behind the counter, some guy at the pharmacy, and, using usted commands is the most normal thing. But always magic word with por favor. Always with por favor. Otherwise, it sounds like, hey, you, do it now. Yeah. These commands without por favor is like, do it.
Wow.
That's how it feels to them. Okay, is the response. Yeah. Okay. Vale. Perdón. I think I need to enable sound. Momentito. Bien. Ok, a ver.
Hola, en esta lección vamos a hablar sobre los... Hola, en esta lección vamos a hablar sobre los mandatos de usted. Before watching this video, you might watch the video series on tu commands. The usted commands talked about...
And tu commands are great when teenagers talk to other teenagers, when you talk to your grandkids or little kids, right? But when you're a traveler, usted is a safer command to...
In this video, will actually be quite similar to the rules applying to the negative tu commands. Remember that we use tu commands with people that we know, are familiar with, and are comfortable with, like children, pets, etc.
And notice this is how teenagers understand it. When you want to boss around your friends. When you want to boss around your friends, your peers, and those who are beneath you. Oh, that makes you feel better, doesn't it? Okay. But usted commands are used in polite situations, yeah, with a waiter, with a clerk, with the guy at the pharmacy. Yeah,
we need the usted commands for people that we want to be more respectful towards and formal with.
Respectful.
The negative tu command forms were basically the tu form in the present tense with the last vowel swapped. So if it usually had as, it would be es. If it usually had es, it would be as, with a couple exceptions. Now the usted commands are basically the negative tu commands without an s on the end because
and you don't know that yet,
the usted form is basically the tu
form
without an s on the end. The best part is that the usted commands are the same for their affirmative and negative forms. To form them, take the present tense forms of the verbs in the yo form.
So here's how they form an usted command. You start with the verb in the yo form. Now, the verb in the yo form is not the command yet. That's just the starting point. Okay? And it's the starting point because Spanish has a lot of verbs that are very irregular for yo. But that'll be the building block we use to get to the usted command. So we start with a verb and the
Then
yo
take
form,
off the O.
and then we get rid of the O at the end. Right? So, tomo, como, trabajo, manejo, llevo, llego, right? We start with that O ending, and then we're going to get rid of the O. And we're going to swap something at the end.
If they're AR verbs, add an E.
AR verb's going to add an E.
Here are some examples. Hablar, llamar, pensar, and esperar. First, we'll change them into the yo form in the present tense.
Okay, so now you're going to start to see why we start with the yo form before we can get to the actual usted command. Hablo, llamo, pienso. Pienso, I think, has a stem change. That means if a verb has a stem change, an IE or a UE or an E to I, it will also have that stem change in the command. Okay. So if you start with the yo form, you cannot go wrong in tweaking it to get to the usted command. Okay. And then he's got espero.
So we'd have hablo, llamo, pienso, espero. Now we'll take off the O at the end and add an E to the end of the verbs. Hable, llame, piense, espere.
Now notice, we do not punch that E at the end. Okay. We punch the syllable before it, right? And I say that because hable has a totally different meaning than hable. It's not hable. Hable means I spoke. It makes it not a command. This is hable, hable, right? So you keep the stress from hablo, hablo, but instead of an O at the end, it takes the AR verb, goes with an A, which sounds like that's wrong, but it's correct for a command. Hable, which means speak. Okay, here's an example of a command. Hable más despacio, por favor. Speak more slowly, please. Right? Hable más despacio, por favor. The golden por favor at the end. Hable más despacio, por favor. Please speak more slowly. Llame, call. Sí, llámeme, por favor. Call me, please. Llámeme, por favor. That's a command. Llámeme. Llame, right? Llamo. We get rid of the O. Llame. Pienso. And you tell somebody, think about that. Think this over. Piense. Piense.
Piense.
Right?
Marilyn?
Sí.
When we ask someone, do you speak Spanish? Don't we say hable español?
No, you don't, because that's not a command. You say, ¿habla usted español?
Oh, hablo?
You use plain old present tense because you're not ordering them, but say, hey, speak Spanish here. You're saying, do you? As a matter of fact, is this something that you do? Is this something that you can do? Yeah. ¿Habla usted?
Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Present tense asks a question.
Okay.
Present tense is used to ask a question. Commands do not ask questions. They say, do it. Or in the negative sense, hey, don't do it. Oh my God, they just painted that bench. Don't sit there.
So if I want to ask someone, do you speak Spanish? Then I say, hablo español.
Habla usted español.
Habla. Okay.
Habla. Yeah. Right. So the usted conjugation for presente is habla. Do
Yeah.
you
Now
speak
I-
Spanish? Right.
Got it.
But, oh, speak with me, please, because you want to practice. Hable, por favor.
Okay.
Hable conmigo, por favor. Right. And that's not
Okay.
asking, it's saying, hey, I need to practice. Speak with me. Hable conmigo, por favor.
Got it.
Bien? Okay, bien. And here's the last example with the AR verbs. Esperar, to wait, and it could also mean to hope, but here we're using it in the wait sense. Espero is the yo form. So to take that yo form and to turn it into an usted command, I get rid of the o at the end and it becomes the opposite of an AR ending, an A ending. Espere. Espere says wait. Espere, por favor. Wait, please. Espere, por favor. Please wait. Espere, por favor. You know, somebody asks to see your ticket, you have to fish it out of your backpack or your purse. Espere, por favor. Espere, por favor. Yeah. Yeah. Bien. Okay. So AR verbs look like they get an ER verb ending. Yeah. That's an usted command. And that's whether it's a go do it or a don't go do it. Same verb. Whether it's a yes, do it, or a no, don't do it. Okay. Hable or no hable. Llame or no llame. Piense or no piense. Espere or no espere. Okay, so usted commands are easy because you use the same verb form for yes, do it, and the exact thing, same verb for don't do it, just with the no, right? Bien.
So we have our usted commands. Now, if we want to make those negative, just put a no in front. Que fácil.
Yeah.
And with the ER and IR verbs, we'll take the yo form of the verb minus an O and then add an A to the end instead of an E. Let's see some ER verbs changed. Let's use comer, leer, volver, and tener. So first change into the yo form, and we'll have como, leo, vuelvo, and tengo.
So there are the yo forms. And now you see why we start with yo. Yo is our base form, and then we tweak it, we change it to turn it into a command. That means that any little funny irregularity is going to appear in that yo form, and I need to keep that. So, como, regular, regular verb. Leo, regular verb. Vuelvo, oh, stem change, yeah. That UE has to appear in the command. And tengo. Tengo from tener is the only form that gets that G, but that G has to be there for the command. So that's why we start with the yo form. So we're going to take these forms, como, leo, vuelvo, tengo. We're just going to get rid of the O at the end, and we'll swap it out for sounds.
And the reason we change these to the yo form first is because you notice with vuelvo, for example, it doesn't look like the infinitive. It's a little bit different with the stem change. And tener has a G, an extra letter inside of it. So we'll change those to the yo form in the present tense, and then we take off the O, and we're going to add an A. So we should have coma, lea, vuelva, tenga.
Bien. There are the commands. Coma, lea, vuelva, tenga. Now, you might say, when the heck would I ever need tener with a command? How do you tell somebody have? Well, here's how that happens. There are certain phrases with tener, or that just use tener. Like, be careful is tener cuidado. So if somebody is asking you, oh, be careful, please, like, you don't misstep, you might fall off the curb, right? It's tenga cuidado, be careful. Because in Spanish, you have care. And that command is used a lot if somebody's telling you, ooh, watch out, I don't want you to hurt yourself, right? So, tenga cuidado, tenga cuidado. Tenga cuidado. Okay. Vuelva, come back. Vuelva, come back. Okay.
And to make these negative, just put a no in front.
Yeah.
No coma, no lea, no vuelva, no tenga.
No tenga. Okay.
Now let's take a look at some IR verbs and their usted command forms.
And
How
IR
about
verbs are going to do the same thing that the ER verbs
Escribir,
did.
vivir, dormir, and decir. Okay, the yo forms would be escribo, vivo, duermo, and digo.
And especially with digo, there, ding, 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 ding. That decir is used a lot in commands. You hear it commonly a lot. Yeah. Tell. Tell me. Tell him. Tell us. Or don't tell me. Yeah. The spoiler alert command, don't tell me what happened in the movie. You'll wreck it for me. But you see why, because this decir is heard a lot in commands, this particular verb, and you see why it's so important to start with digo so that you get to the right usted command, right? That's the first step.
Notice that dormir changes to duermo and decir changes to digo, so there's some spelling changes there. And take off the O and add an A to the end, so we should have escriba, viva, duerma, and diga. And to make these negative, just put a no in front. No escriba, no viva, no duerma, no diga.
Bien, yeah. And sometimes that no diga, it might have a me in there, like no me diga, don't tell me. That's one of those things like that sometimes people say in surprise. Oh, you don't say, no me diga. Yeah. Or, yeah, not literally don't tell me, but wow, I'm shocked. That kind of expression. Yeah. No me, but the me has to be stuck in the middle there. No me diga. No me diga. No, ay, no me diga. Yeah. Okay.
That's all there is to it. Not bad, right? But wait, there's a little bit more. I haven't told you about a few other minor things. First, if verbs end in CAR, GAR, and ZAR.
Yeah, okay, there's always something. So here's the thing. This next thing he's going to tell you about is a spelling change. But the pronunciation will be exactly what your brain would expect from the rules you already saw. So you're never going to write this down. They're just going to show you how it looks when it's spelled. I guarantee you, when people say this, they never get it wrong. But you don't need to write it down because you won't be writing these, but you know.
Kind of like with the preterite. Due to the E being at the end, they will have a slight spelling change. So if it ends in CAR, we're going to use QUE for the command. If it ends in GAR, we're going to make it GUE to keep that hard G sound. And if it ends in ZAR, we're going to make it CE just because.
So that just means that verbs, infinitives that end in CAR, like buscar, sacar, tocar, verbs that end in GAR, like llegar, pagar, pagar and pegar, hit. And the hit might be needed for baseball. Yeah, pegar could be used for baseball commands, right? And ZAR. So verbs that end in those, they get a spelling change, but they still sound-wise do exactly what you expect. So you'll see, yeah, saque, busque, toque, llegue, pague, pay, up, yeah, pegue, hit it, right? Abrace, cruce, cross, like cross the street, yeah? Goce, enjoy, okay, although I think you'll hear a different word now.
Then there are also always a few irregular verbs. That is the one.
Here's the real meat. Here's the meat. These are the commands that are considered, honest to God, irregulars. Okay. They are irregulars. And, okay. Actually, there's a little bit more in there, but you don't need to know the other ones that are kind of missing. Okay. Dar, which is kind of common. Give. Yeah, give me something. Ooh, that one's kind of common. Dar is one you should know, right? Estar, you may not need so much. Ir, ooh, there's one you need. Saber, you're not going to use that as a command very much, but it's in that category. And ser. Out of these, I would say dar and ir are the two most important. Dar and ir are the two most important because often we tell people to go or don't go, and we tell people to give. Yeah. Okay. So dar and ir are the most important. Ser, maybe behind it might be kind of
Ones that don't
important.
like to follow.
And these are irregular because they don't start with yo. That's all. That's why. We don't start with yo to get to these.
Oh.
They're just yeah. But notice they all use opposite vowels. AR verb, right? Dar and estar. They get the e endings. So that part of it is consistent. AR verbs get E and ER endings, right? De, este. It's just that we don't start with a yo form to get to that, okay? Ir is just a whole new word, vaya. It's kind of related to the vamos, kind of, maybe, kind of, sort of, okay? You're not going to use this one, sepa. You may hear it in a subjunctive form, but you're not going to hear it as a command. And sea. Yeah, don't be some way. Okay,
any
you may
rules.
hear that.
Remember which ones were irregulars with the two commands, or the negative two commands, that is? They were dar, estar, ir, saber, and ser. And if we have pronouns like direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, or reflexive pronouns, they will follow the same rules as with two commands. If the usted command is affirmative, that means not negative, we'll attach it to the end. If it is negative, the pronouns will go before the verb phrase, but after the no.
Okay, so that's a little more than what we want to do for now, adding on pronouns. But for example, if you wanted to say, give me, yeah, give me a drink. Yeah. That me part would be a pronoun, right? So we're not going to go to the pronoun part of it yet. But we are going to take a look now at the little set of slides that I gave you. Uy, necesito engrandecer. I need to make these bigger so you can see. Okay. I had sent you a whole list of slides, but we're going to take a look. Yeah, sí, yes, perdón. Sorry about that. There it is. Aquí. Let's kind of dive into the middle of that. So the AR infinitives are going to get these endings, which look wrong. We switch. Yeah. AR commands get endings and just add an N for ustedes. Yay! That's all it is. ER and IR infinitives are going to get an a. Make it ustedes, just add an. Yay! That's it. That's it. Okay. And this showed you, again, you got to start with the yo verb because the yo verb will have any kind of weird little peculiar irregularity that you need for that command. So if you start with the yo present tense, you won't go wrong. We start with the yo, we get rid of the o at the end, and then we add these on, right? So hable or hablen, coma or coman, viva or vivan. Well, that won't be a command so often. Traiga, which you may need in a restaurant setting. Yeah, bring me the bill. Traigan. Salga, salgan. Venga, because it started with bengo, right? Bengo turns into venga. Come. No vengan. Sí. Cierre, close. Cierren. Hey, you guys, close that door. Yeah. Duerma bien. Sleep well. You wish somebody to sleep us? Duerma bien. Duerman. See? Here's a common command. When you ask somebody to repeat something, see? Repita, por favor. Repita, por favor. Or to make it a you guys kind of command, you're talking to more than one person. Repitan, por favor. Yay. Bien? Okay. Okay. And the negative versions just have a no in front of it. Okay. I'm going to let you look at this, but just know, and I'll put them in red later on. Dar and ir are the two most important ones to know. These technically are all of the irregulars, but this haber you don't really need for now. And they show you why the yo form doesn't help you. Doy, we don't keep that OY. There's no O at the end to drop. That's why it's irregular, okay? So de and den, vaya and vayan. And the rest of them, you're not going to hear as much. That's just the fact. Okay? So those two, and I'll put them in red so that they stand out for you. Those you need to know. Okay, let's put these into use. You're at a restaurant. We want to use traer, bring, because you want the waiter or waitress to put something over on your table. Un vaso de agua. Hey, bring a glass of water for my friend, please. So the key thing to know is that we start with traigo. That's what we start with. And how do I turn that word traigo into a command?
You drop the O.
We drop the O at the end, and it's
Drop
an
the
ER verb.
and
so
add an A.
we add an A. Traiga.
Traiga.
Traiga. Traiga.
I have a
Traiga.
question.
Sí.
Is it better to start out with the por favor before you get into a command?
You can, so that you don't forget it. Yeah, sure.
It's
Por
just so
favor,
you
Traiga.
start out softly, not like bossing somebody around.
Yeah,
Like
you can.
these.
You can start it off. Yeah, you can start it off with por favor, or you can tag por favor to the end. Doesn't matter. Either way is fine.
Okay.
Either way is fine. Okay.
Mm.
Bien. Okay. Traiga un vaso de agua. Traiga un vaso de agua, por favor. ¿Sí? Bien.
Got it.
How do we use hablar to say, speak more slowly, please?
Hable más despacio, por favor.
Exacto. Hable más despacio, por favor. Hable más despacio, por favor. Hable más despacio, por favor. Bien. And this one here, repetir, that E that's in bold, that has got to change to the letter I, right? We start with repito. So please repeat it is...
Repite, por favor.
Now, it won't be repite.
Repita.
That will be a two command. It will be Repeat. Oh, perdón. Repita, por favor.
Sí.
Repita, por favor. ¿Sí? Repita, por favor. Repita, por favor. Repita. Now, repite is also a command, just so that you guys know. Repite is also a command, but it's a tu command. It's a we're first name basis command. Repite is actually a command, but it's for tu. Okay. Now, you tell people, hey, be careful. And I want to make it for all you people, more than one. So that means I need
Tengan.
Tengan. Perfecto. Tengan cuidado. Tengan cuidado. And here's our only irregular here. Give. And you're saying cash, like maybe you want cash, but for whatever reason. Yeah. Give me cash, please. You're at a bank. Yeah.
Deme.
Deme, and it'll be give to me. So it's deme. The to me is tagged on to the end. Deme. Deme dinero en efectivo, por favor. Deme. ¿Sí? ¿Bien?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Vale. Let's take one of these odd spelling things, and it's a spelling thing, so you don't need to know how to spell it. You're going to say it, and it'll be obvious.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sí, sí, sí.
On the second one, because it's when you did hable, shouldn't it be hablen? Because it says please speak slower, but it means you guys.
Oh, gracias. Thank you. I did not look at that.
Yeah.
Hablen.
Hablen.
Gracias. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. You tell your better half. Oh, don't snore so much. Okay. Well, your better half, you would really be using tú, but okay. We're just going to make it a negative. How would you turn roncar into
Ronque.
ronque? And notice you didn't make a mistake. Ronque. Roncar, using e-n, ronque. But this is how it gets spelled.
Ronque. Okay. Oh,
It gets spelled funny. That's when the video says C-A-R-G-A-R-Z-A-R. The spelling will look funny, but it doesn't matter. You're not spelling it. Yeah. Did you say it right? Yes, you did. So you see, it makes no difference for speaking, but for spelling, it's kind of funky. Okay. Bien. Vale. Bien, 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 bien. We're going to do this one. We're going to do these real quick. Make it a you guys. Hey, come over here. We start with vengo.
Venga.
Vengan.
Vengan. Vengan. You say to somebody, hey, look.
Mire.
Mire. Mire. You'll see, yeah. Somebody wants to point out, like they're giving you direction. Mire, mire, mire. Yeah, that's what it'll be. Help. This is important.
Ayúdame.
Ayude. And for the help me, it's
Ayúdeme.
ayúdeme. Ayúdeme. We just added the me to the end if it's help me. Ayúdeme. Okay. Tell me. Decir is
Dígame.
diga. And if you add the me onto the end, it becomes dígame. Dígame. See? Dígame, right? Oh, this verb for turn. Like if they're giving you directions, turn right. Doblar becomes what?
Doble.
Doble, right? This one is kind of a tricky one. They tell you, go straight ahead. And the word for straight ahead will either be, because both are correct, derecho or recto, either one. But this one is really, really tough because it's based on this, sigo.
Sigo.
And that's a tough one to know because it's a funky, weird thing. Seguir, the E from se turns to an I. Sigo. Sigo becomes?
Siga.
Siga. This verb siga is used a lot for giving directions. When they say go straight, it's siga.
Siga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Siga means continue. Keep on. Keep on is siga. Keep on. Yeah. Right. And even if somebody hands you a drink and they say, hey, have one, they won't actually say have, they'll say take it.
Tomalo.
Tome.
Tome. Tome. Tome. Yeah. Tómelo, take it. Yeah. In a very general sense. Okay.
Right.
Bien. Bien. Perfecto. Perfecto. I'll send you a fun video just for listening in our hiatus weeks, our weeks off. Sí, bien. Eso es todo. That's it. Because otherwise I'm going, 10 minutos. 10 minutes over. Perdón. Okay. Bien. Okay. ¿Todo bien? All good?
Todo bien.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Magnífico. Muchísimas
Muchas gracias.
gracias.
On the 8th.
Ustedes son fantásticos. You guys are great.
Hello. Bye.
Fue un placer. It was total pleasure. And we'll see you guys hopefully pretty soon. But
Okay.
enjoy. Sí. Que Que la pasen bien. Have a good time in those 2 weeks.
Gracias.
I'll be cleaning out the
Adios.
trees they're cutting out and getting ready to replace my window. Oh no, the windows are going to be like
Good.
8
Months.
weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
months.
10 weeks. Did he tell me? He said it could be 10 weeks. If you're lucky, it's 8 weeks.
Mm.
No. Yeah, it'll be 10. It'll be 12. It'll be winter by the time,
That'll come out time. You never know.
but it'll be before it's 115 again. Yay. So,
Yay.
okay.
Adios.
Muchísimas gracias.
Luego.
Muchísimas gracias. I've got to turn off my recording here.